house.
What's going on, freaks? All right. Well, I did a live stream earlier today. A lot of you guys missed it. The show itself, in terms of, trying to reach our goals every day, did absolutely terribly. But you know what? Better than zero. Better than zero. Not much, but. It's, I don't know, man. It's getting more and more frustrating out there. It's just, I don't know what to do to get I do the shows every single day, but YouTube just pumps out other people, and I get less and less, Sometimes, there's some case or something, but I don't know, man. I don't know what to do. Sure, yeah, sure, it was great, but his channel did really well during the show, and mine did terribly. So why is that? I mean, I don't really understand that. I'm putting stuff out there that's interesting, and I don't know. Maybe that's the second time I've been on there where the show did terribly, so I'm not really sure. Like if that's something that's good for me, And you guys always say, hey, do something with somebody else. And, well, there you go. I don't know. We'll see. I like just doing the show because it's, it's interesting talking to somebody else. But, if I'm not being supported, why would I do it? Get what I'm saying? Would you? Right. And here we are again with 60 people. Oh boy. It's just... Yeah, so I found, oops, there he goes. Okay, yeah, well, it's awful because of people like you, Mindy. You're an absolute troll dipshit. Get out of here, all right? It's you, Mindy. It's people like you. I've already explained it. Like, when I'm on his show, there's nothing, I'm just doing a show. And then when idiots like you show up in here, then my attitude gets bad because of you. All right, so look in the mirror and try to be kinder when you show up. You ever thought of that? It does have something to do with YouTube. I know it does. Okay. I talk about the cases all the time, Mindy. Get the hell out of here. These people are so stupid. I mean, their brains are fried. Yeah, right. All right. Anyways, we got this right here. It says, the Desert Sun. An autopsy is scheduled today for a young woman whose body was found in a gully. This is February 19th, 1980. Found in a gully 6 miles south of Palm Desert Monday by 3 Canadian tourists, said Deputy Coroner Ray Carrillo here today. The woman, whose identity has yet to be established, was found wearing blue slacks, a light color pullover sweater, and brown sandals, said Carrillo. He described her as 5 feet 4 inches tall, with blonde hair and hazel eyes, weighing 120 pounds, noting that she was between 20 and 25 years of age. There were no signs of trauma, Carrillo said, explained that there were no apparent knife or bullet wounds to the body. He said that Canadian visitors had stopped at a viewpoint on Highway 74 when they spotted the body of the at the bottom of the 20-foot gully. Does it turn? I mean, when does 74 go south? Man, let's see. Palm Desert. It's way over there. Oh, okay, there's Palm Desert. And then 74, okay, cool. So if we go, maybe go 6 miles. South down in here. We can kind of figure out, like, maybe, I bet it's on these switchbacks right here. This kind of makes sense. Let's see. I remember not even knowing what the hell switchback meant until we covered the Schnee Oberholzer case. Hey, Wild Bill, I sent you a video. You never got it. It's like this guy, Bama Bass, I guess he... Alright, let's see. Maybe right there. That's the one. Let me show you guys this thing really quick. That way I don't have to remember it again. Now look at this crazy... This is like the craziest thing I've ever seen. Just a second. I'm going to show you this whole thing. Alright, here we go. Watch out. Wouldn't your heart just jump out of your... Look at this thing. Watch it. Okay, just start over again. He's got a frog. You know, he's just doing topwater frogs. Look at this thing. Watch this. So he's twitching it way over there. You can see it. And then he's getting done. He's about ready to cast again. Here, watch this. He's like, yeah, I'll cast again. Hold on. That's just stupid. Oh, jeez. You see that right there? That's a 9-pound, 3-ouncer. I mean, that's just a freaking monster. And you can tell how big it is on this video. And he finally gets it in. He's just like...
Yeah, he hit it right. That's got to be the wildest.
Listen to him.
That gave me a heart attack. My goodness. That gave me a heart attack.
That would have done that. I mean, I think anybody would have... What the hell was that? Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Maybe this is it right here. This looks like exactly the spot. Look at this. I wonder if you could pull over somewhere, maybe like up in there. But there's definitely a goalie right here. I mean, there's a lot of them, to be honest, out here. But maybe it's right down there. That's where her body apparently was obviously dumped somewhere. I think it's on these switchbacks, though. There is a place here, a lookout, so it could be there, and maybe they don't start counting south of Palm Desert until you get a little, down here, not where I started. So it could be further down, like right there. Kind of makes sense too. Like maybe they looked down there, and there she was. They just come look out, and then so whoever it was maybe pulled off the side and just threw her over right there. But hey guys, if you could please help support the channel, that would be great. We're just trying to keep on trucking along here. Did you see that video, Wild Bill? That I just showed you? There's no response to what I just put on there. Did you see that? The video? Oh yeah, up above. I don't know. That's pretty crazy to be reeling in that fast and have something that big right next to the boat. Like he's already... I mean, I've had, sort of similar things, but nothing like a massive fish like that. If I've been reeling in and all of a sudden, bam, right when you're about to pull it out of the water. He described her as 5 foot 4 inches tall with blonde hair, hazel eyes, weighing 120 pounds. There were no signs of trauma. Carrillo said, explaining that there were no apparent knife or bullet wounds. He said that Canadian visitors had stopped at a viewpoint. So that's probably, maybe that is what that is. All right, so there's that one. And then just a little bit late, like 3 months later, it was mentioned again. Just in another article, DHS woman found dead. The body of a Desert Hot Springs woman was found Friday morning just yards off a farm road here, and sheriff deputies say they are investigating the case as a homicide. And eventually it comes over here. He noted that there was no apparent connection to another case in February where a group of Canadian tourists found a body of a young woman on Highway 74 near Vista Point. Oh, let's see where that is. Let's see if we were close. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Vista Point. Well, there you go. That's exactly that spot. See that? Coachella Valley Vista Point. Boom chakalaka. All right. And then another one from 1980. Right here. Now this one just mentions it again. Hey, alright. Thanks for the 55 months by Candalee Woodward Stone. Investigators also have not found the killer of Kim Roberts. Other mystery murders this year include the May shooting and stabbing. Let's see. Now, right here, here's one. 2 homicide victims in 1980 remained unidentified at the close of the year. A young female's body was found February 18th at the bottom of a 30-foot gully off Highway 74, and a young male's body was found March 16th along Avenue 50 in Coachella. They have that one. Then looks like there is, let's see, also another one in December 9th of that year. This one's a little bit long, more stuff. For the time being, she is case number 443669106, known as Jane Doe. She was muscular, not sure what, comely woman, not sure what that means, with blonde hair, never seen that word before to be honest, and hazel eyes in the her early 20s. Here, hold on a second. But hey guys, any chance you could help support the channel today? Attractive is what it means. Or wholesome in appearance. She was muscular, attractive, with blonde hair and hazel eyes in her early 20s. Riverside County Deputy Coroner Ray Carrillo says she took good care of herself, as evidenced by her manicured hands and pretty expensive clothing. 8 months after being found in a 30-foot deep gully just off Highway 74, 4 miles south of Palm Desert, the woman's body has yet to be identified. Hers is one of 3 cases this year like that, unnamed, unclaimed corpses. But 13 other cases this year, which were logged in a coroner's ledger initially as unidentified male or unidentified female. Let's see. A deputy coroner for more than 9 years says toxicology tests were unable to determine, hey, thanks, Allie K, the cause of death. Her death, however, was other than natural, and Carrillo speculates the woman died elsewhere and her body was dumped in the gully. That's exactly what I was thinking. I mean, it's just such an obvious dumping place. Her identity remains as shrouded as her cause of death, even though the deputy coroner was able to take identifiable photographs of the woman and distribute them to law enforcement agencies and news media. At the same time, Jane Doe's fingerprints and dental records were transmitted to the State Criminal Intelligence Information Center in Sacramento and to the FBI in Washington, D.C., both storehouses of millions of civilian, criminal, and military records. But to this day, Jane's true name and hometown remain unknown. Carrillo says 6 or 7 people came in and looked at her, but that too produced no leads. Deputy Coroner Robert Drake, senior man in the Indio office with more than 25 years experience, says, "We have a routine that we go through in identifying any body. Naturally, the easiest is when you take the person's wallet out and has a driver's license with who to notify to in the case of an emergency, or in case of an emergency. When you get into the cases where you can't identify them on site or by something on their person, then you have to go to the routine of fingerprints and dental charts." He says, of course, not to overlook anything that person might be wearing. And by the way, this article, none of the people covering the case found, because there was no blue outline. Only one person found the previous one. Identification of the person himself, including all marks, scars, tattoos, and amputated finger, and any type of thing that might help to identify him, plus the type of clothing he was wearing, including the name on the labels and sizes. These things are very important. Hey, that's very, very generous of you there, Kenneth Lee Woodwardstone. As you can see, that's $10 more than a lot of people send in. Thank you. Let's see. Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Plus the type of clothing he's wearing, including the name on the labels. It might not give you anything for a while because you have to wait until some person reported a loved one missing. The office this year has handled more unidentified bodies than it had in the last 2 previous years. So now it just kind of goes on to talk about bodies in general, but that guy's kind of creepy. He's just sitting around. Coroner tries to find Doe's real name. So anyways, that's another article where she hadn't been identified yet. And then I think there's just one other time where now, then I just found this one randomly. Okay, so this has nothing to do, it's not the same. Well, I don't know if it has nothing to do with it. It's just interesting. It says, skull under forensic. Forensic lab studies are being made of a skull found off State Highway 74 near Santa Rosa Drive last Saturday. Authorities said hikers discovered the skull in the early afternoon and that identity studies were being conducted on the remains. No other information was available. Let's see what that is. I just want to see if it was anywhere near that location. So it's Highway 74 and Santa Rosa Drive. Whoa! Okay, that's 74. Where's Santa Rosa Drive? Well, the Highway 74 maybe doesn't. Well, it's Santa Rosa Drive. Where's 74? Right there. So then must continue up. I don't know, maybe it's just somewhere around in this area. But it's not incredibly far away from there. I mean, you'd have to call him the Highway 74 killer. Probably just some other random death there. But anyways, you got that. Then just now, it's an article Brian Enton talked about it. It says investigators have identified a woman whose body was discovered in a ravine more than 4 decades ago. Now they need the public's help solving the murder. On February 18, 1980, motorists found the body of an unidentified woman about 35 feet down a ravine off Highway 74 south of Cahuilla, California. At the time, Cachilla? I remember there was like a Cachilla. I don't know. At the time, investigators described her as a white woman in her early 20s with brown hair, standing about 5 feet 4 and weighing roughly 115 pounds. Despite fingerprint comparisons, dental checks, and the release of an autopsy photo, her identity remained a mystery, and the case eventually went cold, according to a news release. They released an autopsy photo? Huh, I didn't see that. The investigation was reviewed again in 2008 and 2009, but no new leads emerged. In 2024, the Riverside County Coroner's Office and the Regional Cold Case Homicide Team reopened the case using modern forensic tools, including investigative genetic genealogy. The victim's remains were exhumed that December, and samples were sent to Othram Labs for advanced DNA analysis. A DNA profile was developed in January of 2026 and uploaded to a consumer genealogy database, probably GEDmatch. A genealogist working with the homicide team identified a potential match to a family in Alabama. Relatives provided DNA samples and reported that their loved one, 29-year-old Victoria Jean Hargrove of Opelika, Alabama, disappeared on January 28, 1980. Weeks ago, the California Department of Justice Crime Laboratory confirmed the match. The cold case victim was Hargrove. Investigators are now seeking information about Hargrove's disappearance, how she ended up in California, and the circumstances surrounding her death. Let's see. A woman's body found along Highway 74 near Palm Desert in 1980 has been identified more than 4 decades later through genetic genealogy. The woman was identified as Victoria Jean Hargrove and was 29 when she was reported missing January 28, 1980. And then, so the case began February 18th, 1980. So she probably ran away and then ended some psycho. 1980 is like the heyday of serial killers. Down in California. So who the hell knows what happened? The case began February 18th, 1980, when motorists discovered her body about 35 feet down a ravine off Highway 74 in an unincorporated area near Palm Desert, in what the district attorney's office have described as a homicide case. The Desert Sun reported in December 1980 that the woman was found by 3 Canadian tourists and that the then deputy coroner believed she may have died elsewhere and that her body was later placed in the ravine. The Desert Sun reached out to the DA's office to see if these details are part of the investigation. At the time, investigators described Hargrove as a white female between 20 and 25. She was 29. And 4 inches tall, about 115 pounds, with brown hair. Despite extensive efforts, including fingerprint and dental records comparisons, authorities were unable to identify her. Victoria Jean Hargrove, in an updated photo, was identified in March 2026. And it's probably easier to see that one there. Kind of almost looks like she has dental braces in that one or something. But anyways, there you go. See, that's the cool stuff. That's why we have our DNA fund, you guys. But you guys, we're currently at just having an abysmal day. So if you guys are out there and have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. All right, so now we're going to move on to the Lynette Hooker missing in the Bahamas. So the thing is we've got this. Now we were talking about Hopetown, right? So there's this island here called Hopetown. Well, let's just look it up. So it's kind of interesting. So it says Hopetown is one of the districts of the Bahamas on the Abaco Island, as well as a small village on Elbow Cay. So that's kind of, now it's sort of, I'm not sure if this Hopetown was someplace they visited. Because then there's like a Hopetown over here. A small village, I don't know. Like maybe this little area here is Hopetown. But then Hopetown is also here. So it kind of made sense that they were in this little area, but, we don't know. Because given the fact that the... let me find this. That's turned off. Yeah, like Abaco in Elbow Cay. So you're already in Elbow Cay. So were they trying to get up here to Hopetown? Because then there's Hopetown over here. Hey, Carolyn. How's it going? Or Caroline. Caroline. Not sure how to say that. Hey, but you guys, instead of having, like, Wild Bill Wassman and all of them always supporting the channel, which is great, I really appreciate it, but it'd be great if some of the other people watching, because we try to reach our goals every single night, and I was on a live stream earlier, and it was just, I did absolutely terrible on a shared live stream with somebody else. It was on my live, and people watching me, we hardly had any support whatsoever. And, so we need to, I'm looking for your support on here. I can't do this without you guys, okay? This is it. So if you could please help support the channel, as I've asked 17 times now already, that would be great. Thanks. All right, let's see what this one is. Missing Michigan woman's husband will remain in police custody, lawyer said. The lawyer, Brian Hooker, a Michigan man arrested for the disappearance of his wife in the Bahamas, told News Nation Saturday that he will remain in police custody after 72 hours extensive detention was granted. 72-hour extension of detention was granted. In a statement to the News Nation, Hooker's attorney, Terrell Butler, writes, the extension was granted under Section 19 of the Criminal Procedure Code of the Bahamas, which allows a magistrate to authorize further detention for up to 72 hours. So I guess that's going to be the key, right? After the 72 hours are up, I doubt you can get another extension. The extension comes after Butler said Friday that her client needs medical attention following a visit to the jail where he's being held. Hooker was arrested after his 55-year-old wife, Lynette Hooker, went missing Saturday while on an 8-foot dinghy in the Bahamas. While he told police his wife fell overboard and has denied any wrongdoing, Bahamian authorities arrested him but have not charged him with the crime. I did talk to Ashleigh Banfield today, and it's actually her mother's birthday, and she said she might actually go out there because she lives. I don't know if she lives in Florida or wherever the hell she lives, but it seemed like she's not too far away, so she might go there. Man, what a difficult job that would be, huh? You go to the Bahamas. Of course, you're covering true crime, but it's like a vacation, then you write it off. If you have to even pay for it, right? That's what she said. I'm not sure if, outlets help her, If I went somewhere, I'd have to pay for it. But you guys, is there any reason why we're struggling again in here tonight? Let's see. Nancy Guthrie's case could be solved by new tech DNA expert. What's the new tech? Brian appears to be completely heartbroken and deeply distressed. His primary concern and source of intense frustration is his inability to continue the search for his wife of 25 years. The trauma of her this is probably from his attorney. Disappearance, coupled with his current detention as a suspect, has left him in an extremely fragile state. Brian shared a harrowing account of an incident that occurred on the night of his arrest. Under conditions of heavy rain and strong force winds, he was taken by boat to his boat, the soulmate, for a police search. Despite the choppy and dangerous sea conditions, he was kept in handcuffs. While attempting to move sideways across the wet, unstable flooring of the boat to maintain his balance with a bundle of clothes in his restricted hands, he lost his footing and fell overboard. He was submerged in the cold water and took in a significant amount of seawater before his life jacket brought him to the surface. Man, this almost seems like the Richard Allen's attorneys, the way they write. He had to be rescued from the water by police. As a result of this fall, Brian sustained an injury to his knee, which has caused him to limp, as well as visible abrasions. Based on these injuries, Brian instructed me to request immediate medical attention on his behalf. As a result, I have formally informed the police officers on duty of the injuries he sustained while in police custody and requested a medical evaluation. The officers have assured me that he will be transported to the Rand Memorial Hospital for treatment and a full medical assessment. I will continue to monitor his condition and the progress of the investigation closely. Hooker left his stepdaughter, Carly Aylesworth, a voicemail, which News Nation obtained Thursday in the message sent 3 days after his wife's disappearance. Hooker can be heard saying, "Hello, honey. I just got a call from Hopetown Search and Rescue, and they found a flotation device that I threw." I mean, why do you put that part in there? Why not just say, "Hey, it's a flotation device that your mom had"? Instead, you're like, you got to make sure that people know that you were trying to help and you threw it out there. It just doesn't seem natural to say that. I guess it sort of is. I mean, I don't know. You know, hey, let's see, search and rescue, and they found a flotation device that your mom had, but I guess he doesn't know that really. I guess he says that he threw to the mom when she fell overboard. I guess I could see him saying that without it being nefarious, you know. And they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today. So I just wanted to update you and let you know. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Lynette Hooker vanished when she fell overboard and was swept away by rough currents. Hooker says Lynette had the keys to the boat's engine when she went overboard, so that the engine cut off, forcing him to paddle for hours to shore to get help. He denies any wrongdoing, but he has been arrested by authorities in the Bahamas. No charges have yet been filed. The couple were avid sailors, documenting their adventures on social media under the very sort of jokey name, the Sailing Hookers. Their boating experience is fueling questions, though, from Lynette's daughter tonight. She says her stepfather's story isn't adding up.
That's like a ludicrously, you bought a yacht But then you buy the crappiest dinghy in the world. I mean, what a pile of crap.
I have a hard time believing that she just fell off.
That looks like something if you bought one of those backyard swimming pools, those ones that look like a cylinder that are just sort of sitting on in your yard and they're like 5 feet tall, that you put in there and go, wee, and float around on it.
Even if she did, I don't understand why he didn't drop anchor and look for her. Or even swim to go get her because he was a Marine. I'm concerned that his anger got the best of him in an argument and he's done something that he can't undo.
Carly Aylesworth reportedly said the couple's relationship was volatile. This is according to Lynette's daughters. She released a voicemail that Brian sent her after the incident. It provided few answers to the many questions about her mother's disappearance.
Hello, honey. I just got a call from Hopetown Search and Rescue, and they have found a flotation device that I threw to Mom when she fell overboard. And so they haven't found her yet, but they can now focus all of their efforts in a smaller area, and they're still out there searching today.
Aylesworth has launched a GoFundMe page to help search for her mother, or as the days go by with no sign of Lynette, perhaps for a memorial in her honor instead. For more, let's bring in Dave Ehrenberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida. This is quite a case. So the husband's been arrested. How long can they hold him without charging him? In the Bahamas.
In the Bahamas, 48 hours, and then they can apply for another 48 hours. So that time is about to end. They need to decide if there's enough evidence to charge him with a crime.
How would they prove a crime happened? In other words, how could they prove, how would they try to prove that his story isn't true?
Yeah, well, there's no body. That makes it tougher, but they could
There's no witnesses.
No witnesses, no body, no cameras. But maybe there's blood evidence on the boat. What about GPS? I don't know if that small 8-foot dinghy has it. Yeah, we don't know if they have.
I didn't even look like an 8-foot dinghy. It looked like a 5-foot dinghy. Thanks, Linda Howell.
GPS, because that could tell you if the boat was stationary when it's supposed to be moving the whole time. Also, maybe a murder weapon. Could that be found on the boat? I think one of the reasons why they held him is to...
No, I don't watch that garbage. She's really terrible at analyzing what she's talking about. All right, so go do something else. Thanks.
Execute the warrants to try to find these things. What about GPS on the phone? Your phone can be a tracker. Does it show the boat moving or not? There are a lot of unanswered questions. Like, for example, she's apparently an experienced boater. How does she fall off an 8-foot dinghy? Yeah, that's...
Well, it's Saturday. They were in this dinghy heading back to their yacht. And it was late Saturday night. Maybe they'd been out to dinner. Maybe they had been drinking.
She was inaccurate on the first video she made about Maddie's room, so I said, "Oh, screw this."
I have been on a dinghy before, once in rough water. I thought it was terrifying. I had a life jacket on, but you hit a big bump because it's like being, hitting a big bump, a concrete bump on that's how hard that is. You know this as a Floridian. I'm sure you spent time on boats. She might have gone flying over the side.
Well, that wouldn't be murder, but if he was under the influence, drinking and carelessly driving the boat, and she falls over, you could still be charged with a crime.
What about the fact that the daughters are saying that they had a volatile relationship? At this point, there's no proof of that at all. That voicemail that Brian left for his stepdaughter sounds loving. Is that something that authorities will be investigating and looking into, especially because the daughters are saying this?
Definitely. Now, it's interesting how you described that as loving. I thought it was cold.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I heard it. Also, he had
Any chance somebody can do a challenge out there, you guys?
social media post that wasn't exactly totally loving. It seemed like an alibi. It seemed like something you would post to just for public consumption, like a press release.
You're still the prosecutor, aren't you?
I can't help it.
Yeah.
Hey, through the they found the flotation device that I used to try to help your mom.
Once you're a prosecutor, you're always a prosecutor.
Okay, but you found it to be sort of establishing what his story was, because the story is it's around midnight. He says she falls overboard. She is the key to
around midnight. I thought it was 7:30. They left
the engine around her neck, so the engine cuts off because that's how it works. If the key isn't in close vicinity to the engine goes off, and so he then says he has to paddle to shore, and that it takes him 4 hours. It's 4 a.m. when he winds up on a beach.
Yeah,
why is she saying midnight? I don't get it.
You plan this out, that would be a great explanation because there are no witnesses, no camera. But you have the daughter there who knows them both, said it's a volatile relationship. He has a drinking problem. She doesn't buy it, so why should police? They're going to keep investigating, and they don't need to prove murder to charge him with a crime. And also, it's not just going to be the Bahamians. The Coast Guard has concurrent jurisdiction. They're going to be helping with the investigation, and it's possible that he could be charged in this country.
How so? How would that work?
Well, if the Bahamians find blood or a weapon, they're going to charge him there. But at some point, the U.S. may decide to come in because they do have jurisdiction and take the case.
Because it's an American on American?
American on American, and apparently it's an American vessel, and it's in maritime waters, so there is concurrent jurisdiction there.
All right, Dave Ehrenberg, it's such a crazy, awful story, especially for those dogs.
Huh. Got that one. And there's a different one in People. Lynette Hooker went missing during a boat trip in the Bahamas. This is from today. 3 days later, her husband was arrested. Let's see if they have any extra. Maybe they put a good timeline. When Lynette Hooker was reported missing on April 5th, her husband Brian Hooker told police that she had fallen overboard while they were on a boat trip in the Bahamas. But days later, he was taken into custody, raising new questions about what happened to the Michigan mom at sea. Brian's lawyer, Terrell Butler, said in a statement to People that he categorically and unequivocally denies any wrongdoing and has been cooperating with the relevant authorities since his wife disappeared. Though it's unclear why he was arrested, Lynette's daughter, Carly Aylesworth, previously claimed that prior issues were brought to her attention. If this truly was an accident, I can understand and live with it, Aylesworth said in a statement to People. However, I mean, she's been on like a million shows, by the way. However, there needs to be an intensive review of the facts and circumstances of this tragic incident. At the time, Hopetown Volunteer Fire and Rescue Team leader Richard Cook told People that officials don't suspect foul play at the moment. Brian, through his lawyer, also explicitly rejected Aylesworth allegations. So, what happened to Lynette Hooker? Here's everything we know about the mom who went missing at sea. I just think it's crazy that him falling overboard seems like him trying to make it seem like, look, see how easy it is? You know, I mean, the odds of that happening are so low. I don't believe that it was a natural accident that he fell in. But hey, guys, any chance we need to get right now we're only at $48, you guys, for the entire night. So can we please get the support for the channel? Our goal is we're only at like 1/8 of the goal, or something, you know, maybe 1/7. So if you could please help support the channel, that'd be great. We need to get a challenge going or something. I don't know, man. I just don't know. Brian told the Royal Bahamas Police that he and Lynette left Hopetown in the Bahamas in a small 8-foot dinghy on April 4th around 7:30 p.m. local time, headed towards their yacht in Elbow Cay. All right, so let's see. Hopetown. Isn't that what we just did? Yeah, so Hopetown is probably up here, you know. So they're over in this area. Maybe it's not this little island called Hopetown, but I mean, it could be, because there is one restaurant there. And it's safe for, you know, you're inside this little bay area here. Did anybody hear what I was just saying, man? We really, you know. was just a lot of bad decisions, Cook told People days later. Nighttime, very windy, no moon out yet, so it was pitch dark and very rough conditions. So it says Lynette left, he and Lynette left Hopetown in the Bahamas in a small dinghy at 7:30 local time, headed towards their yacht in Elbow Cay. So I think this is where Elbow Cay is, and I remember that Abaco Inn is sort of where they were at. So maybe it was, they just went from here to get into there. I mean, that's a possibility, right? I mean, it's not, they're almost the same distance from here to there as it is from here to there. And this is Elbow Cay. Man, I wish I had the answer for that. Left Hopetown. Well, what is Hopetown? It's like, it's all over the place. What I don't understand is why she swam to the shore and why he didn't go try to catch up to her. Yeah, he could have. I mean, the thing is, he'll never be convicted if he shoved her off and she drowned. Okay, his story, you can't disprove his story. You know, they'll have to find something else that doesn't make sense that he was doing. They can somehow track him doing something. That would be about it. But if they find her and she merely drowned in the water, then it's going to be tough. You know. Hey, do you see that? Domsey said, if you guys gift 5 memberships, she'll gift 10. All right? So that means if you guys, just 5 of you, gift 1 membership, she'll do 10 all by herself. All right? That's about the only way to get moving here. So thank you. That'd be awesome. Need 2 more, or 3 more now. Thanks, Michelle H. and Wild Bill Wassman. You got one? Oh, she got a membership? Oh, that's funny. Wild Bill Wassman gave Dom C a membership. There you go. So you guys, we need 3 more. So can 3 of you gift 3 memberships, and then Dom C will do 10 all by herself. That would really help the channel out a lot, and hopefully people stay around. It was just a lot of bad decisions, Cook told People days later. Nighttime, very windy, no moon out yet, so it was pitch dark and very rough conditions for the small boat they were in. Aylesworth said on CNN News Central that the couple had been married for almost 25 years and that they always wanted to sail the Bahamas. Hey, thank you, Anderson Croydon. And April Starr. We just need 1 more. Lynette reportedly had the boat key. And by the way, when I was talking to Ashleigh Banfield, I asked her, I said, hey, can I play your interview? Because she interviewed the mother of Lynette. So I'm going to play that. She said, you don't have to ask me. You have permission to use any interviews or anything that I do. All right? And then she said, I'll even sign something if you need me to, but you can go. And I go, She said I could play anything that I want to play. So that's really good because, the thing is people like her dialed in and have producers, and they're able to get, interviews and stuff that regular people just can't get. So you guys, we need 1 more gifted membership up there. We're going to pause the show until we get that. 1 more, and then Dom C will gift 10. So that'll get us moving at least. Anybody out there? We just need 1 gifted. What happened? Oh. Yeah, we didn't get there yet. We need one more, you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, look at there's Anderson Croydon. All right, thank you. Well, there you go, Dom C, who just got a membership during this. Maybe there was a witness. Someone on the shore heard an art. Well, I was thinking there was a restaurant that they left at 7:30, and they did it. Dom C, they got all 5 of them. So thank you. And thanks for doing another one there, Anderson. What would that say? Thank you, Domsey. All right. Maybe there was a witness, someone on the shore. Yeah, I was thinking that they were at a restaurant at 7:30, and somebody probably heard them arguing, you know. I mean, I guess there's got to be a reason that they held him. There's something that they see that doesn't add up to what he was talking about. With his vessel inoperable. Okay, so Lynette reportedly had the boat keys with her when she fell into the water. You know, I don't buy that anymore, like anything about that. Because apparently the boat, it's really just like a dead man switch, really. And it was just on a string. And when I was talking to Ashleigh, she had a really good point. She said, if you're by yourself, that's when you wear it. You might tie it around your wrist or something, because then it kills the engine so the boat doesn't go too far away and you can get in it. If you just fall overboard and the engine's running, the motor's just still going to keep going and the boat's gone, right? Everybody knows that. But when there's 2 people in a boat, nobody has anything to do with that thing. They don't even touch it. Because if one person falls over, then the other person would need to go use the boat to go get them. And then, you know, it's it makes sense, right? Like, let's say she falls over, and then you're in the boat and you have the other person can then still use it. But if it's attached to somebody and they fall over, then the person on the boat doesn't have any use of the vehicle to go save the other person. So anyways, it made sense. Maybe I'm not conveying it exactly, but logically it made sense. You know, I mean, it seems like you'd want somebody to maybe, you know, if there's, I mean, what if both of you get knocked out of the boat? I mean, you'd want somebody to be attached to it. So I don't know. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, that made sense. With his vessel inoperable, Brian then drifted for 4 miles until he arrived at Marsh Harbor, at which point he made his way through the bush to the Marsh Harbor boatyard at 4 a.m. on April 5th, per CNN. He then alerted the police. Her daughter claimed that Brian threatened to throw Lynette overboard in the past. During an April 2026 interview with NBC News, Aylesworth opened up about her mother's allegedly volatile relationship and how they had what she described as a history of not getting along, especially when they drink. Yeah, and it's they drink, not when he drinks. See that? She also claimed that Brian had been violent with Lynette in the past, telling Fox and Friends that he even allegedly threatened to throw her overboard. I do believe something might have happened to her, Aylesworth said on Fox and Friends. There's history of them choking her out, not them, him. There's history of him choking her out and threatening to throw her overboard. So the fact that this is happening makes me believe there's more to the story. Lynette's daughter also questioned details on Brian's version of events, including how he allegedly told police that he saw his wife swimming to shore. My mom is very fit and strong. She's a good swimmer, Aylesworth said. Like, why was she swimming away from the boat? Why did she have Is it really warm water there, by the way, in the water? Why did she have the key? The story just does not make sense to me. Oh, boy. All right. Well, we got to about, if we put the whole day together, we're at about 55% of a normal nightly goal. So I definitely need more challenges, more people supporting the channel. Though Lynette was arrested on charges of assault and battery, simple assault, the warrant was later denied due to insufficient evidence as to who started the assault. Okay, though Lynette was arrested on charges of assault and battery, the warrant was later denied due to insufficient evidence. Okay, that's what Ashleigh wanted to know. 3 days after his wife was reported missing, Brian's lawyer confirmed that Brian was arrested by RBPF in connection with his wife's disappearance per NBC News. It's not been formally charged with a crime and has maintained his innocence, according to his lawyer. The previous history does not have anything to do with what actually took place on that day. It does, though. Absolutely. He doesn't know that, his attorney. It very well could. It is relevant. It might lead to what maybe happened. Now, he's the only witness to what transpired, the lawyer said. Right, exactly. And he has said he has done nothing wrong. Wow. Therefore, he must be telling you the truth, attorney. So to refer to allegations of abuse or tumultuous relationship does not explain. So let's see. He needs to come forward and said, I did it, everybody. And then we can look at the previous assaults and everything and go, see? He was a bad guy. But if he says he had nothing to do with it, his previous assaults and everything are completely irrelevant. Wow. Okay, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Let's see, extended. What is this? This is their one? Maybe we haven't.
I just heard that they found the flotation device that was thrown to them or to her when she was swimming away from the boat.
That he claims.
That's all I've heard so far. I got a call from my stepdad about it, but I didn't answer. He just left a voicemail. So I tried calling the Bahamian police, but they did not answer. So I had my lawyer contact them to see if he could push anything along.
Oh, we already did this one. All right. I think that's it. And by the way, there's the dinghy right there. Just so small. Look at that. It's crazy. Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. There it is. Right in the middle of the dead zone again. Thank you. Okay, well, what we're going to do now is we're going to play the interview that Ashleigh did with Lynette's mom. All right, here we go.
Hey everyone, I'm Ashleigh Banfield and this is Drop Dead Serious. It is Friday, April the 10th, and I've just gotten off the phone and a very long interview with Lynette Hooker's mother. Ever spent not a kill switch, so that's to extend the 48-hour hold that they have on him right now. He's facing a world of hurt right now, possibly though, in the missing case of his wife Lynette, because the story that he has told the Grand Bahamian Police, according to what his lawyer says, according to news reports, just weird. and doesn't pass the smell test if you're a boater, which I am, and a sailor, which I am, and if you've ever spent any time
There you
in
go,
bad
Wild
weather,
Bill. You got somebody
in a
to argue
small
with.
inflatable rib or a small
how
inflatable
little
hard bottom
that
boat,
thing is.
a little outboard, which I have.
I don't think that's even 8 feet, man. If that guy was laying, well, it could be. That's just tiny. Jesus.
I'm just going over it, and it's bizarre. And you've probably heard that Brian Hooker claims that he and his wife had been out and were trying to get from mainland out to their yacht where they had been sailing because they're retired and they're sort of living out the dream on this 46-foot yacht called Soulmate. And the tender, that little, inflatable boat, was taking them from the land out to the boat. They were driving it. It was theirs. And she just bounced right out. And then the current took her away. And she had the keys to an outboard, which I thought was weird. I've since found out it's an electric motor, and there is sort of a key-like device with a string that hangs off.
That's exactly what I have is here, maybe I'll go get it. Woo! Yeah, that thing's heavy. Forgot about that. Oh, there we go. Here, maybe I can grab that. See this thing right here? Look. This little thing. And then it goes, and then the light turns off. See that? It's part of this motor, but when it's in, it's on, and then you pull it off, and then it turns off. You see that? Gotta go fix all this shit. God, what the hell's going on? Yeah. I'm like far away now. There we go. No, it won't what? Alright guys, if you could please help support the channel, we gotta keep moving.
It, but it's not wrapped around your wrist. It's not a kill switch. So that's hinky to me. In any case, it's also hinky that when you're in safe harbor where mooring balls are all anchored.
Thank you, Stacy Facey. All right.
So that yachts can come up and hook onto them and be parked for the night. Safe harbor is safe harbor. There's not like rip currents and tides and that sort of thing typically. So I also think that's a bit hinky. And he's a Marine and she is an avid boater and has grown up on the Michigan lakes and knows boating safety and is a strong.
Yeah, well, the thing I just showed you, when the magnet's on there and you use the little switch, the motor is just going. As soon as you take the magnet off, the magnet has to be on there for that motor to work. the electric motor. Sounds like they have something kind of similar. You know, it's not the same kind of motor.
Long swimmer. This little inflatable boat only goes like
They have an electric motor, though.
a couple miles an hour. It's really, really slow. It's a little electric engine about that big. This is not like, you know, James Bond type, you know, boating. So all of it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And the weather apparently wasn't that bad on Saturday night when Brian Hooker claims all of this happened. Hence, he's being held. And again, they're trying to determine whether they have enough to charge him. And they clearly have probable cause to hold him. But charging him is another matter. So Lynette's mother, Darlene Hamlet, has told me a lot about their past, about Brian and Lynette's relationship, and it is not good. I know you've probably heard snippets and pieces, but the full picture is that...
I mean, she agreed with me that it's a volatile relationship, and when they both drank, there was a lot of problems.
It is not good. And she says that multiple times Lynette has left Brian and shown up at Darlene's door badly bruised and, as Darlene says, badly beaten. And it got so bad that Darlene said that she consulted a battered women's shelter for advice on how to try to get her daughter to leave Brian, and says that every time her daughter left her to go back to Brian, she feared it would be the last time that she'd see her daughter. That is how bad this relationship was.
I mean, that's crazy, though, but why did she keep going back?
According to Darlene
I mean, that's
Hamlet.
typical. That's the classic, you know, that's how it works. And maybe it had something to do with not being able to make it on her own. She'd have to work again or something.
Lynette's mom. And she goes into much more detail in the interview I'm about to play for you, specifically one incident, which is just harrowing, where Darlene says her daughter came back from what she said had been a pitched battle in the cockpit of the sailing yacht, of the keelboat Soulmate, in which she had hit her head and her neck so badly she felt it crack, and said that Brian said to her that he wished he'd finished the job and thrown her overboard. This is a year and a half ago.
Well, don't you have to have the kill switch on to even have it work? Because my motor won't work unless the kill switch is on. Right. Oh, yeah, on their body. Yeah, that's what she said. That's what Ashleigh told me, that it's just dangling there on a string. Yeah.
Oh. So hearing a story like that from Lynette's mom, while Lynette is missing and at this point possibly presumed dead, it is very, very disturbing. And then there's the part about the money, right? There's that nagging part about the money. Darlene says Lynette seemed to have all the money. And it's not a little bit, it's a lot. It's a lot of money. So I want you to hear, she felt it crack and said that Brian said to her that he wished he'd finished the job and thrown her overboard. This is a year and a half ago. So hearing a story like that from Lynette's...
I don't see anything on it. I went to Lynette's Facebook page. I didn't see a damn thing. I mean, I don't know if it's a different account or what, but when I went there... I don't know. I just didn't see anything. Maybe I have the wrong one. It's the one that was associated with her been verified, though. So maybe you can email me the one so I can look at it.
Mom, while Lynette is missing and at this point possibly presumed dead, it is very, very disturbing. And then there's the part about the money, right? There's that nagging part about the money. Darlene says Lynette seemed to have all the money. And
oh, there it is.
It's
okay.
not a little bit. One. It's a lot. It's a lot of money.
I got it.
So I want you to hear this interview that I had with Darlene. And I think, listen, it's really important to understand. Darlene wanted to do this interview because she wants anybody out there, if you...
Yeah, so like on this picture right here, probably that red thing there is the kill switch, right? And then it's just dangling, because that's kind of on the top where mine is. Right there, I would imagine, right? That little red portion. Because there's a little string hanging off of it, and it doesn't, you know, we can't see her left hand there, but. That looks like Central Oregon right there. right, you guys are having one of those massive lulls. We got to keep on trucking. There we go.
You are out there right now and you're listening and you feel that you're in a bad relationship. She wanted to do this interview with me to tell you, please don't let it go on too long. Please don't do what my daughter did. Please don't keep going back, because eventually it could end very, very badly for you. And I am very thankful that she's done this interview with me as a cautionary tale to so many people out there who are victims of domestic violence. Here now is my conversation with Darlene Hamlet. Well, let's just sort of start from the beginning. Oh, I mean, what was it like when you got that phone call from Brian 24 hours after Lynette went missing?
With the lifestyle that my daughter and her husband lived, I had been preparing for that phone call for a long time. So it was short. I have news to tell you. Lynette's missing.
Oh, so she was new.
Pretty
this
much
was coming.
all that was said. And so later on in the day, I had to call him back. I said, I need more details. I said, this is not enough. And so he went through his day with me, and I broke down. So, I mean, what else would I do, you know?
It's distressing to hear you say that with the lifestyle, it wasn't an unexpected call. Talk to me more about that.
There was a lot of good times and bad times in my daughter's relationship with her husband. A lot of highs and a lot of lows. They had, when it was fun, it was really fun, and when there were bad times, there were bad times. And the fact that she had left him on numerous occasions before and continued to go back even after she had been hurt was something that was very difficult for me to understand. And I did a lot of crying, and I had to prepare myself for what I thought was someday going to happen, unless she finally decided she had had enough. I think they loved each other, but they were not good for each other. And that's the best way I can say it. They partied hard, they lived a hard life. They lived a full life.
What was your impression of Brian when he was drinking?
When Brian drank, Brian could be mean, hateful,
I hope she asks about, well, how is she when she drinks?
say unpleasant things. And that pretty much describes him. He also got physical. This is not the first time there's been where I thought I was lucky to have Lynette in the past. This time, it's just like it just progressively got worse. And so this is where we're at now. That's why I'm on here. I kind of want to,
Do we got a challenge in here? No, who did it? Who did it? Okay, so it looks like Jim Lawn, you guys. If we get 4 more gifted memberships, Jim Lawn will give 5 all by himself. So we got 1. See if we can do the other 4.
honor my daughter and tell her story, and also support my granddaughter, who's lived with Lynette and Brian. That was her mother and stepfather, and
The
experienced.
challenges are really helpful because it's like a 2-for-1er to buy memberships for other people, and it also just makes us like a bigger move, because right now we're currently at probably like 70%. If I add the previous show to this one.
A lot of things firsthand that I never.
Usually the other show is to try to have a better day, but now we're using it just to try to make it today. It's been that poor. So if you guys can help support the channel, my channel relies on you guys. That's how we do all the things that we've been doing over the years. This channel's donated $292,000 some odd dollars to true crime related charities, and that's really that's one of the main things that we do here. And You know, the money that I bring in through ad revenue, super chats, gifted memberships, I try to donate thousands of dollars. Of course, you know, if the channel only brought in like 5,000 or 6,000 in a month before YouTube, you know, like it'd be difficult to donate anything. So we try to bring in money enough to then give away a lot, you know, and that's what supports our scholarship fund, our DNA fund, our, you know, all of them. Hey, it looks like they reached your challenge there, Jim. Stacy Facey, almost all by yourself there. Thank you. Very cool. Appreciate it.
Did. I always got the phone calls when she was at her wit's end and couldn't take any more. So
You mentioned to me before that Lynette left Brian multiple times.
oh yes, she left him. Oh, it seemed like it ran in about a year and a half, 2 years cycle. And she'd come home and she'd be like 3 weeks and then she'd go back. And then this last time that she went, when he had choked her and when she has the bruises on her back and took the picture to remind herself, she was here at my house in Florida and she was looking for a job. She was going to stay in this house while we were up in Michigan and start over. She didn't want to. She was 50 years old and she didn't want to start over. She was embarrassed because her marriage was failing, and she went back. There was violence in this relationship that I can go back, oh goodness, many, many years, 2015.
Thank you, Jim Lawn. Hold on. We got to give Jim his... Hold on.
1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
There was the police report that people are talking about online, and that was domestic violence because of kids. And my daughter's daughter, Carly, and Brian's son were in a locked bedroom, and they wouldn't unlock the door. Don't know why. I still don't know why they wouldn't unlock the door. But Brian and Lynette got in a fight in 2015, and he choked her and he hit her, and she had a black eye. Didn't show up that day, of course. I mean, boom, he hit her. And then they had the police come, and because Brian had blood on his nose and there was no evidence of any kind of struggle on Lynette's side, she went to jail. The whole case, it was done, but the damage was there. That was one of the first times that I knew that he could be mean to her.
And there was a choking incident as well. Brian was charged in a case where police said he choked his own, I think, 12-year-old daughter. Yeah. Carly said she witnessed it. She had to go to court. And ultimately, the jury just acquitted him. But it just sounds like such a volatile relationship.
He did. He did do that. My daughter was the one that...
So this is sort of interesting. Like, I think this is her right here. Carly, this is her when she's young. This is from 2011, which that makes sense. So if you go 15 years, she's 20, she'd be like 13. This is like just a little after he choked her, I would say. And then she did this thing on...
Joe Narv has been...
Suspect's sister, apartment.
I mean, it's really kind of ironic. She did a video on the Boston bombing for a college, like not a college, a history exam project. So she did a little video on, this is the daughter, right? The one that, the 12, I think that was 12 when he, I don't know if it's one of his own daughter or, how that all played out. Maybe it's her though, I don't know. So you have that one, and then there was another, and then he has a YouTube channel. Have you guys seen this? And I think that's her right there, or one of these kids anyway. That kind of looks like her, like the dark hair. And see, this is Brian Hooker. And this one is from 16 years ago. And this is likely, and she's like 12 years old in this picture. Know what? What are you talking about? And thanks, Jim Lawn again. Know what? Oh, you haven't seen it. Okay. But anyways, I found these just digging around and stuff. Like this one is her, the one that Ashleigh interviewed last time. And looks like if you go, 16 years old and she's 28, then that might have been right around the time, if that's the person he choked. I don't know.
Tried to pull them apart. And Carly did have to go to court. And so those are the kind of things that Carly saw. She saw him yelling at her and so much stuff that Carly saw in their relationship. So that's why I wanted to support Carly, to make sure that people didn't think that she was just the stepdaughter, that maybe she didn't like her stepdad, and I wanted to support her when she says it was a volatile relationship. It could be a volatile relationship. Now, when you look on the sailing hookers, you would think that they were living their best life. Everybody smiles and everything is perfect. But the one thing that I made my daughter do is I said, I want you to document everywhere you go and everything you do so I know where you are, because I needed that. And she made sure that she did that when you go on the sailing hookers and you see. Brian, they wanted to have a boat. She kind of wanted to have a boat in Michigan and a boat in Florida, or maybe some property in Michigan and one in Florida. But he wanted a boat in Florida and for the warm weather. But they ended up selling everything in 2020, house and the whole content.
You mentioned that she took photos. Lynette took photos of herself to remind herself. What was she trying to remind herself of?
Not to go back.
She wanted some evidence that she would look at and convince herself not to go back to Brian.
Yep. Yeah.
And yet she went back.
And yet she went back. She was looking for a job. She had this house to live in, and she chose to go back. And I had to get help with that one, because I just don't understand why you want to go back, be mistreated when you know it's going to happen again. And it's just a cycle. When they were happy together and when they weren't drinking, it was a good, all marriages have good points and bad points. When there was no drinking, they were fine. But the drinking was their downfall. He would get mean. Yeah.
I think you mentioned to me that you consulted battered women's shelters for advice on how to handle Lynette. Tell me about that.
Well, that was because I just can't understand. I could not understand. It just makes no earthly sense. And they said, support your daughter no matter what. Don't criticize and condemn the situation too much, because if he is controlling, you won't see your daughter at all. Support your daughter, be there every time she needs you, and maybe one time she'll be strong enough where she won't go back. Crazy to me, but that's what I was told by several people.
And Darlene, I think you told me that Lynette bought a ticket home just recently.
A month ago, she called me and she was crying. And
yeah, I think this is a volatile relationship on both sides, but I'd probably put most of it on his side. But it sounds like when they drank, it was volatile, but he's the one that it looks like. I mean, we have the one incident in 2015 where, it looks like they dropped the charges, but she smashed him in the face, and she didn't have any bruises or anything. She claimed that he choked her and hit her in the forehead, but didn't have any marks. So who knows? But it seems like it's I don't know. It's just one of those things where they just should never have been together. It's like a powder keg. Probably what do you call that? Like they both. I came up with the word yesterday, but I don't remember what it was. But those relationship where each codependency on each other, and even though they might have got along, But the problem with both of them, they seem like they're both angry when they drink. And then when they weren't drinking, they probably got along okay. But when they drank, they just absolutely hated each other. I mean, it's just so crazy. And they drank a lot. And then there was a whole bunch of these incidents. You know, but then he also has the one where he choked a 12-year-old, his own maybe stepdaughter. And, you know, he just probably not the greatest situation prior. But now, all of this, if it is something to do with him, it's just all on him. It has nothing to do with her. You know, it doesn't matter what somebody's arguing about. You don't get to kill them.
She said, Mom, I can't take.
I mean, nobody's ever asked the question about how was she when she drank. You know, that's never asked.
Anymore. I just can't take anymore. He's so abusive to me. He yells at me and tells me that I'm a terrible wife and no good for anybody.
I mean, that sounds like the classic, you know, sort of abuse stuff.
And
there.
that, and she says, I don't know what to do. And I said, did you ask him to stop drinking? I said, is he drinking again? And she said, oh, yes, he's drinking. And I said, will he stop? And she said, he told her he had no interest in quitting drinking at all. And I said, well, then you know what you've got to do. You get over to Marsh Harbor, you get on a plane, and I don't...
Hey, you guys, if we get to 11 more channel memberships, that'll reach the minimum goal. So if you guys have the ability to do that, that'd be great. And let's see. Yeah, that'd be getting close to the right at the minimum goal.
So what airport you're at, I'll pick you up. And she says, I want my stuff. I said, I don't care about your stuff, Lynette.
That's doable.
Just get on a plane. I know my daughter was embarrassed. She didn't want to have a divorce. She tried everything she knew how to do to make the
there's one right there by Wild Bill Wassman.
Relationship.
And I'll tell you what, if you guys do the other 10 now, I'll donate 5 myself, all right?
Work. So the next day, because they were always together in a small space in a boat, conversations sometimes had to be short. And so she told me they were working on things. And then I found out that she had bought a ticket to come home to Miami. And a one ticket to come home, but she didn't get on the plane. I don't know exactly why, but she didn't get on the plane.
Do you know the date that she was supposed to fly?
The 11th.
March 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And she had come home multiple times to you before. I think you mentioned to me when we spoke earlier that she'd come back to you beaten up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. The back was bruised. The time before that, her ribs and her side were bruised. She's always... He has a pattern of choking. Like he choked his daughter, like he choked Lynette in 2015, and a couple other times after that. And I only know, let's say, when it got to be the worst. I don't know if there was any more going on. I don't know. And I want people...
Any of you guys hear my challenge? We do 10 to 10, and then I'll do 5. That's the only way. That way we'll reach the goal. That'd be sweet. Yeah, let me do this. All right, there we go. Hold on, I gotta edit this one more time. Okay, there we go.
People that are out there, like my daughter, to take the story and understand that maybe this person, though you love them, they may not be the best choice for you. Maybe it's just not meant to be. And it's take a good look at your relationship and get out of it while you can, if you can. So, go ahead.
When she would visit you, when she would come back from Brian,
yeah,
would she intend to stay with you, and then ultimately she would say goodbye to you?
Yep.
What would that be like?
And she's like I said this last time, she was looking for a job. She said, I can't anymore. This was about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And yeah, ultimately he wasn't drinking and things were, nice on the phone. So, well, I'll give him one more try. And I says, how many chances do you want to give him? Kill you.
What was going through your mind every time she got back on that plane?
That's crazy. It's so classic,
To go back to the boat.
It could put.
Yeah, Wild Bill's counts as there was 11 needed, and then Wild Bill got his in there. And now I'm saying 10, if you guys do the other 10 gifted memberships or super chats of $5 denominations, then I'll donate, there's one, so not 9 more to go. I'll donate 5 memberships myself.
Potentially be the last time I ever see my daughter alive.
Did you ever tell her that?
I don't think so. My husband said he told her. You have to walk such a tight line. You don't want to alienate him too much. You'll never see your daughter again. So it's just, I tried to support my husband or my daughter when she was with him. We laughed on occasion. We had good times. We played cards, but he has two sides to his personality, and he can be very pleasurable, pleasant.
God, it's so weird. To me, it's so weird. It's just weird that there's people. I mean, like when I drank, in college or even now, if I have a drink or something, and I'm just the same. Like we're just, more goofy, we're laughing and goofing around. I think it's so weird that there's people that when they drink, they just get belligerent and angry. And what's fun about that makes you want to do that again? It seems like it's hey, let me have another drink. It's like, it's not fun. If you're feeling that way, is it really fun at all? And by the way, can you guys hit the like button for me, please? And we need 8 more gifted memberships now, then I'll donate 5 myself.
And he can be very vicious. So
I think you described for me something that Lynette told you one of the times she came home when she said she'd been hurt.
I mean, you guys remember in college, right? There'd be that one, the couple people at parties that they drank and just turned into just nut jobs, trying to wrestle everybody and fight and stuff. Hey, look at Wild Bill Wasserman said. He says, let's go freaks. I know when I say, hey, you guys, can we, help support the channel, usually just like, yeah, whatever. But when somebody else says it, you guys jump on there. I'm just trying to do another, we need 8 more gifted memberships, which is $40 total, meaning like, somebody does 10, that's 2, etc. Then I'll donate $25 worth of channel memberships.
She said that her neck had cracked. Can you describe what it was she told you and what she said Brian had said to her in that incident?
Oh, dear. They were on the boat and both drinking. I'm not saying it was a one-sided drinking. They were both drinking, okay. And they got in a fight, and he threw her down on this bench, a wooden bench, kind of like in a camper. They have, the boat has a little bench where you sit around the table in the.
See, the mom's not gonna. Right there was her first indication of saying something. She knows more about that. Probably her daughter gets really angry too when she drinks. That's why she even brought that up. She says, "I'm not saying," she threw that in there, but the stories that are being told will never include anything that she did at this point, right? And probably she might not even know, right? Because her daughter's only going to tell her stuff that he did.
Gully. And she landed on that, and it was a wooden bench, and he was on top of her, and he was choking her, and she felt something crack in her neck. And her neck she was so stiff-necked for a long time. And I don't know how or why, but she stayed on that boat that night. And the next morning, they packed all of her stuff, both of them. He helped her carry all of her stuff to the dock. And she came home to me for a while. But one of the conversations that they had while they were on the boat the next morning is he told her that he wished he had finished the job and thrown her overboard. So
Did she not take it seriously? Did she think it was just hyperbole? Like he was just all talk?
how could you think somebody was all talk when you're being choked? You know, I guess she just kept hoping. She didn't want to be in a divorce, in another divorce, because she was married a couple times before, and so was he. And so she just kept going back hoping. She loved him.
I think it's so weird. I mean, like, God, every time, like, I've had girlfriends and stuff, and you're drinking, it's more fun. You know, it's like, it just seems weird that you're going to drink and then it turns into this nightmare, you know? What a joke.
Of that side of him.
Hey, wow, thanks, Allie Cake. Look at that, you guys. That gets us down to only 6 needed.
And it just was always there.
Darlene, what do you think happened that night, Saturday night, when she disappeared?
Brian called me, called us to tell us that Lynette was missing 24 hours after she was missing. And I said, I need more details. And he said, he drank all day. And we were on land all day, and we had been drinking. And he said, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. I didn't have a radio. He said an oar broke.
I mean, when somebody says everything that went wrong, like, what are the odds of having every single thing that may have helped break and not work? I don't know. It's just...
And he just kept going on and on. I didn't do this, I didn't do that, it's all my fault. And I said, but why not go after Lynette? Why go the opposite direction? He says, I didn't know where she went. But my thought was, she fell off of a dinghy that wasn't running, and she didn't swim back to the boat for some reason. It's an unsinkable dinghy. Why wouldn't she swim back? My daughter was an excellent athlete and swimmer. So it is, I mean, it makes no sense. But he said anything that went wrong could go wrong. And
hey, thanks so much, Eagle, Stars and Stripes. All right, just 5 more now, you guys. 5 more.
That he had to paddle for 8 hours to get across and get to where somebody could help.
I mean, not only is Lynette a good swimmer, he's a Marine.
I like that name, by the way.
Sure, well, he was an excellent swimmer, too. That's why we couldn't understand why he didn't jump out in after her. Or why not row toward the way he saw her go.
Right. I mean, that's what we've all been talking about. She goes into the water. Why is she going to swim to shore, not the boat? I could see this scenario. Like, they're fighting, and she's like, screw this, you know. And, I mean, who knows? He shoved her off, and she, like, tries to get away. To me, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Forget it. And so she goes into the water. Why wouldn't you originally try to row towards her to go help her? You know? What, she's swimming away from... Hey, wait, I'm going to get you. Wait. And she just keeps swimming the other way? I mean, that actually shows that there's something wrong with you that she's doing that. Right? So if it is true that she swam away from the dinghy, then there was something going on with him that would make her want to do that, right? That's pretty crazy. Hey, thanks. Wait, we are Ilsa, right? Is that the right name? I think I remember that. Ilsa.
Oh, so yeah. I mean, he was a scuba diver too. He'd go under and clean the bottom of the boat, and you know, they snorkeled. And
if they find her and she drowned, and there's no other marks or anything on her, it's gonna be tough. You know, it's gonna be tough to. He could have shoved her in the water, and then made sure that he didn't help her, and the waters were rough. And even though she's a good swimmer, those are hard conditions for anybody, especially if you've been drinking. And she may have drowned, and he may have even helped facilitate that a little bit. Maybe he did something. I mean, who knows? But you can't. It's going to be hard to prove it unless you can prove that he didn't do things that he said, but even then it won't matter because it's too difficult. He could just say, oh, I thought it did that, but I was so stressed out about the situation. I went over there and I went over here. Right. All right, you guys, we need 4 more gifted memberships.
You know, my daughter was raised on a lake and around boats.
And then I'm going to donate 5 after we get those 4.
And her whole life. So
I think you also mentioned to me she was extremely safe when she was boating. Used to wear a helmet on the keel boat in case the boom would come across. And
I used to wear a helmet playing the piano.
I'm a sailor. I've never even been that safe.
Well, in particular, no, more that she did that when the winds were bad.
Come on, that was pretty good, right? I used to wear a helmet playing the piano. I mean, come on, that's... Imagine, like, just picture that for a second. Just picture it. Like, so you're sitting on a piano and you're a problem kid and you're playing away. Hey, thank you. All right, we need 3 more now, you guys. 3 more.
She didn't have a house, so when the winds were bad and they were down below and they would get shuffled around, she'd have padding and the helmet on, and it was, we always thought it was kind of funny when she did that. Yeah, and so I always told her, make sure you got your helmet on, so that she could protect herself.
Of course, it's not for real.
So yeah, when she was going out working on the side of the boat, she had life jackets and she had belts around her and straps on the boat, and she was always very cautious. My daughter was very conscientious of the weather. I mean, all Mr. Weatherman and all the weather stations, I mean, they were always on her phone. She was always watching the weather, and Brian too.
Yeah, I think she thought I was going to hurt myself while I was playing the piano.
I mean, if there was any hint of being bad weather, they were very careful about when they went out and what they did. So I've been told that...
Look at that little dinghy that they were driving around, that little tiny little boat there. I don't think anybody with a brain at all would take that out into very sort of windy, wavy conditions. That thing is... I mean, it can get flipped over just easy. That thing is just... I wouldn't even call that a dinghy, That thing is a pile of crap.
Little cove area that they're in doesn't have a strong current. It's a...
Yeah, so that's what they were saying. That's what Ashleigh was saying because she looked into it. There's not a big current in here at all. It was meant that way. That's why you're able to moor your boats and stuff like that. Apparently, there's almost no current in here. You can it's pretty landlocked. There's a lot of little opening there, but then there's even this to block current and everything, and then over here, I mean, so obviously there's current, but even looks like even right out there's an edge too. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Protected area. So I've heard so many different things, it gets so confusing.
Well, I mean, the whole idea of safe harbor, where mooring balls are set for sailors to come and hook up to find safe harbor, is that typically there are no rip tides, there are no strong currents. So I'm just having a really tough time understanding how somebody leaves the bar or the restaurant to go out to the yacht, and in between, A and B.
Yeah, well, that would just be the bad weather and the waves, not the current. So maybe a current isn't a factor, but I would imagine, I mean, Bill would probably be able to tell you this too, but if you were in a dinghy like that, especially one that's rubber and like that, if you were in one of those and it's windy and choppy, the wind's just going to blow the living crap out of you. I mean, it is going to, wherever the wind's blowing, that's kind of where you're heading. And you might be able to offset it a little bit with the oar, but the wind's going to just blow. Especially in a dinghy like that. Like if it had a little bit more weight to it, it might not move quite as quick. But man, that thing looks like it would just buzz across the surface.
B, there's this,
Hell, that would almost be like you're on one of those inner tube water ski situations.
Catastrophic weather that bounces her out of an 8-foot dinghy that can only go about 2 knots.
Yeah, she didn't agree with me when I said, well, I think it's possible in a really wavy condition when we were on the phone. Wavy condition that she could get knocked out of that, and she didn't agree.
I mean, it's not the kind of boat that's banging along waves. It barely can go more than a...
Right, but see, that's not, the whole thing is that, I mean, it is true. Like, if you don't have speed, right, it's not going to, if there's, let's say there's no speed at all, it's just going to go like this with the waves itself. But if you have motion on it, you might go, you know, you would have a little bit more velocity. It seems like you would just be kind of riding the wave like that if there's no motion. But if you have like 4 miles an hour in a direction, that's when you might start hitting and bouncing and stuff. I don't know. And maybe that's what was happening, you know, like I guess the motor was working prior to that. And then she goes over. But again, they don't tie the kill switch to them, especially when there's two people. If there's one person, you do that to stop the boat from traveling away if you fall out. With two people, generally the one inside, you don't want to have it attached to the one that fell off because you need that person to rescue, and you don't know who's going to fall off, so you just assume that one of you won't be falling overboard, I guess.
Couple miles an hour.
So, right, if you guys give 3 more memberships, I'll donate 5.
I know.
So let's talk a little bit about this key, because this has been a big point of contention. He says she went overboard with the key, rendering the engine useless. But, you know, for a lot of people who boat, these are outboards. They don't have keys. Maybe they have a kill switch. And then I think your granddaughter Carly said it was kind of like an electric key that had a cord on it, but not a cable that would attach to your wrist. Meaning, it's not a kill switch that if you went overboard, you'd take it with you. Correct?
I can't remember. I've been on the dinghy. I do know it was electric. But that was my thought. It was just kind of like a jet ski. When you fall over, the jet ski stops. And I'm thinking that's what happened with the motor on the dinghy. She fell over. She had the key.
Thank you, Jessica Schubach.
And the boat stopped. But it's an unsinkable dinghy. Why didn't she swim back to it?
Also, why would she grab the little cord that hangs down from that electric key? Why would she grab that?
Right, like if it wasn't I mean, that's absolutely right. Like if it's not one that's attached to your wrist, why would she intentionally grab just that as she's falling out?
On her way out, and Carly mentioned she never drove, and she would have to be in the driver's position to be able to grab that cord and bounce out. Like if you're bouncing out because of the waves, you're not grabbing at the key. There's someone in the boat that's going to have to come and rescue you.
I have no answer for you. That's why I wanted a full investigation. That's why the story just doesn't make sense. The weather report doesn't even reflect bad weather. I just don't understand.
What did the weather look like that particular night?
They were expecting some rain, but no gusting winds and waves. So I don't know.
Well, and again, I'm just going to say for anybody who's not a boater out there, I've been in lots of these little dinghies, and they are bouncy in waves, but you have to be going at a certain speed in order to hit a wave to bounce out. And that little dinghy, I've seen the engine, I've seen it driving, I've seen it on their Instagram. It can't go that fast in order to bounce you out of, some big wave.
Yeah, I mean, I see what she's saying. We actually talked about this exact same thing last night. Really? I don't know about that, Babs. That doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Lanyard and go around your. Yeah, hers doesn't though. It's just a string that just goes straight down after So they don't tie it to themselves apparently. It's sort of like my treadmill, right? It has a kill switch. I don't attach it to myself, which might be stupid, but at the same time, I don't let myself, go zipping back to the end of it.
It just doesn't make any sense. And I'm just wondering if...
I think it's incredibly important, if you have a kill switch on a motor in a dinghy or a boat or whatever the hell you're using it for, to have it attached to yourself. Especially like kayak fishing. You know, I have one of those, I think it's called, what the hell's the name of that thing? PDL 106, whatever, but it has a pedal drive. Like you can actually pedal it. It's amazing. Like you pedal around, and then it has this thing where you can put a motor, I use a motor that goes on the side. When I do it, I've only used it once because I just like the pedal. You can go 4 miles an hour pedaling the damn thing. So it's like, but the motor's right there. And when you're using it, you have around your wrist or your foot or something. And then if you happen to fall overboard, it pulls it out, and then the kayak stops, and then you can swim back over and try to get back on somehow. Yeah, they're little bungee kind of things. But hey, guys, we need 2 more gifted memberships to reach my challenge, and then I'll donate 5 myself.
They're putting all of that together with the Royal Bahamian Police Force. Hopefully they've got enough mariners who will understand where his story does or doesn't add up.
They've been very good so far. They've been very good about talking with us, and I've talked to the police chief the day it happened. He was called on an email. He got in touch with me, and so they're doing their job for sure. And working with the Coast Guard, there's been a thorough search. It's odd that they found her watch. They found
where?
I don't know where.
Yes. So that would have been a huge, because that's brand new information right there.
I do know that they found her watch. She wore iPhone watch, I watch.
An Apple Watch?
Apple Watch.
Was she wearing it the night she disappeared and they have found it?
Yeah.
And did they...
I mean, that's huge. It's a really significant piece of information. Like if she was wearing it that night, and that Apple Watch, they can track where the hell that thing went. So was it ever in the water at some point and then drifted somewhere?
They didn't say if they found it inside the dinghy or on board Soulmate, or did they find it on a dock, or they didn't say?
On the beach somewhere. I can't swear to that.
She's saying beach somewhere. I think she wasn't supposed to say it was found on the beach, but then just realized it and said, well, I don't know.
It wasn't in the dinghy that I heard of the first time. I would have known before that. They just found her watch.
So she says she's assuming it was found on a beach, which kind of matches my theory. I thought it was over on this island that she was killed, and then he made it look like they were in the water. But if this is where Hopetown is, then that's a whole different deal, except it has the same scenario. It could be... What is that? What is this? What is it reading? Hey, turn off Google. Jesus. The stupid iPad thing in front of me started just reading. Man, that was crazy. All right, guys, how do we get these last 2? We need 2 last gifted memberships so I can donate the 5.
Yep. Let me just go back a bit. Did you say they found her watch on the beach?
I am not sure where. I said My thought was that's where it was. So
well, that would be very telling. That would be certainly a very big clue and a piece of evidence as well. And then they
got plastic strap around them. The Apple Watches are pretty sturdy. They don't. I don't understand why. You gotcha. Yeah.
Never comes off. I mean, somebody would have to really be wrenching on me to get that thing off. I've been wearing it for years. It's never come off.
Yep.
But the thing is why would he take it off of her, too?
Yeah. The other thing I learned from Brian's attorney, who he's hired in the Bahamas, is that she says he was being taken by the police.
No, I don't think her body would be found by now. Takes a few more days.
To Soulmate, to the 46-foot yacht. It's 46 feet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And on the way there, the weather was terrible, and he fell out of the police boat, and he was handcuffed, and they had to rescue him. Did you get all of that information? Did the police share that with you?
No, my story was a little bit different that I heard, but I read it online, so perhaps the person that, did the article did it wrong. I heard that he was on his boat.
Well, I mean, she'd go missing on the 5th, right? So it could be right around now. I mean, it does sometimes take 3 to 5 days, but it depends on the temperature of the water. I've seen it take, a lot of times it says, like the bloat stage is 2 to 6 days. So it could be that she might be popping up, I mean, as sad as that sounds, tomorrow. Okay? Do I need to dance a jig, you guys, to get these last 2 gifted memberships? We try to reach goals and so forth every single night so we can continue to do what we do. All right? So I need your guys' help here. Well, I don't know if we're going to get... If someone donates 1, she'll donate 1 so we can... I know, wouldn't that be great to be done, Domsey? This is what I hate about the, I don't like doing the show, having to keep doing this, except that's the only way to get and do what we're doing. That's it. I mean, we've donated, we've already at 12,000 this year, and then my channel has an income too that it needs to survive, and that's just what we do. And so, I don't know what to tell you other than for some reason YouTube doesn't have me in the algorithm for this case or other cases. Nobody gets their notifications. They always tell me that. And I have 180,000 subscribers, and yet 120 get notified or something. I mean, it's ridiculous. I don't even know what to say. Hey, thanks, Dom C, Ilsa, and Wild Bill Wassman. All right, here we go. All right, there you go. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. And there we go. So here's some... Welcome all the new freaks out there.
He was already on Soulmate, and that he had spare clothes that he was taking with him.
Just know... Hey, but listen, you guys. If you don't get notified, just know this. That every single night I go live between 6:30 and 7:30, basically. All right? So just show up. I'll be here. Don't worry about it. Every single night of the year. I basically only take about, at the most, I miss about 6 or 7 days in an entire year.
And they handcuffed him, and that's when he fell in and he had to be rescued, and that he hurt his knee. So.
Yes, hurt his knee, had abrasions, and they were going to take him to the hospital. I'll be interested to find out the discrepancy because I've heard...
Does anybody think that that's just totally bogus, that he fell into the water? I don't think it's bogus that he went into the water, but how it happened is contrived. There's no way in hell he also fell in. I think what he's doing is, wow, you guys, look how rough it was. Even I fell in. So, of course, in my little dinghy out there, she could have fallen in too. What do you guys think about that?
They handcuffed him, and that's when he fell in and he had to be rescued.
Over here it's 8:36. It's 8 hours. You must be in the UK. Right now it's 8. Well, where I live it's 8:36. On the East Coast it's 11:36. And so you must be over in Europe somewhere.
And that he hurt his knee. So.
Yes, hurt his knee, had abrasions, and they were going to take him to the hospital. I'll be interested to find out the discrepancy because I've heard it now both of these ways, that he was on a police boat and bad weather. He could not get his, he couldn't get a grip or hold his position.
It's just, it's all a game, man. Look, so doesn't my story make sense now, everybody? Listen. Hey, cops, doesn't it make sense now? Don't you get it? Listen. Can you see how I fumbled around and I fell into the water? Can't you see how she did it too, then? Look, you guys knocked me in the water in this stable boat. What do you think happened in the dinghy, you bastards? Yeah, that's what he's doing.
In the moving boat because of his handcuffs, and ended up going out, and the police rescued him. I did not hear that that he was on board Soulmate, but I did hear that's where they were headed. They wanted to go out to Soulmate to search with him. So do we know if that search even happened? Were they successful in getting to Soulmate to search?
Doesn't that sound about right, what I just said? Listen, see? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Look. He probably was like this. He made a noise so they look at him, and then he sort of falls overboard, you know? Wow, look at this. Man, I'd love to see that on camera. I bet it's the most contrived, just ludicrous. He probably, is anybody looking? Anybody looking? He just sort of falls overboard, you know? See?
Bohemian police?
Yeah, the police.
Yeah, they've searched the boat, yeah. So they had
I don't know, with a life jacket on? He's fine.
the dinghy for, I think, an
I guess it would be kind of freaky to... If they were in front of him, it wouldn't be that hard, I don't think.
additional day. So they looked at the dinghy. So yeah, they've been at the boat.
Go ahead.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
Do you know if they have seized the yacht, Soulmate, and put it into evidence at all, or is it still sitting?
Well, I mean, he knows that they're going to rescue him in 2 seconds, right?
There on the mooring ball.
I do believe it's still on the mooring ball. Yep.
So let me see. Like what do they look like? Just like a big ball and then you wrap it around? Let me see. Like that? Here, let me just. Oh, like that. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Just some sort of like a little. It's like a. I almost call it like a dinghy itself, you know. But see these little balls like that? So I guess they're just out in the ocean there. And then they attach the yachts or whatever to those. Something like that. And I'm sure that's probably like completely anchored to the ocean, so you can just come up and attach somehow to this ball, and then, or maybe it even has this cord on there. I guess I don't know. I'm not sure. I thought, the first time that he actually got her back to the yacht, killed her, and then the whole thing in the dinghy is a ruse to make it look like the story that he told. But then he could have also went with her somewhere at 7:30. They got in an argument, and then he killed her, and she's actually on the land somewhere. And then the whole dinghy thing is to throw law enforcement off. And hell, he could have even planted the watch, you know? I mean, to be honest, he could have put the watch miles away from where he really put her to get him to look over there. That would actually make sense. That would actually be in line with the theory that I had the other day, where he buried her on an land or on the island over there. And then he made the whole thing with the dinghies in the water was a ruse to make it look like she fell into the water. And then wouldn't that be interesting then if he took the opportunity, like he took her watch and then put it miles away somewhere, and the engine's still working this whole time, that little motor. He's just buzzing around doing stuff, and he puts the watch somewhere else, and then he goes back over here, and then he cuts the engine, throws the key into the the kill switch into the water, and then look, and he stumbles in. It's almost exactly the same thing as him falling overboard. Just this whole fake ruse situation. That's just a theory that I have. I'm just adding in just now the watch. Seems like it matches that type of mentality. However, it could just be that he shoved her overboard while they're rough seas and she drowned. I don't think there's very good chance at all that this is like just some random accident. I think it's very low odds of that.
The other question I wanted to touch on with you is finances, because in so many of these
I know,
cases,
that's what I was saying. The watch would have data. Yep. And they could track, Apple Watch and see where it's been. And they could go, and maybe, so some of this stuff, maybe stuff that they already have. Because remember, the daughter spoke yesterday and has a, like an app that shows where the boats were and so forth. So they know that. Does it match what he said? Who knows? Probably not. And then maybe this watch, the information on that watch, if they just found it today, is that might be what might keep him in there for a long time if it shows something different. Like all of a sudden it shows that it was like on the yacht or something. And I mean, it's hard. That one would be hard, because if, let's say he killed her on, if he was really diabolical, listen to this. He buries her on the island. Then he builds the ruse of her dying in the water, and then takes her watch intentionally with him so that it tracks with the movement of his dinghy. Right? Then, at some point, he says, oh, she swam to shore. So then he moves the watch, it's kind of slowly. She swam to shore, and he puts the watch over there. Because the dinghy isn't technically attached to the watch. It just means like it would just make the story make sense. So then you put the watch on the shore, and then you just use the motor and go somewhere else, and then take it off, and then you take the kill switch off, and then drift for a while. That'd be crazy if he thought like that, man. If he got to that level where he took the watch so that it would track with the dinghy, and then at some point he sort of has it separate. He may have even tossed her watch into the water and it floated, Perhaps it floats. And so that'll drift on its own, and then he's separated from it. That'd be nuts if that's what happened, man. That'd be...
A lot of times, you have to follow the money. And you mentioned to me that the money was all with Lynette.
Yes, it was.
Talk to me about that.
When they first got together, Brian was married previously twice, so was my daughter, and he had 3 children, 2 with one.
Yeah, maybe, or he maybe intentionally wanted it to be found, but he needed to drift around in the water to make it look like she was in the water. That would make more sense, wouldn't it?
Lady and one with another, and he was paying very, very, very high child support. And so with the bill,
It's because in so many of these cases, a lot of times, you have to follow the money. And you mentioned to me that the money was all with Lynette.
See, I didn't know that before, because that doesn't match what she said. She said that with his combined income, she didn't have to work anymore. But if she's the one that had all the money, then I'm not sure. That's a contradictory statement. Remember that?
Yes, it was.
Talk to me about that.
When they first got together, Brian was married previously twice, so was my daughter, and he had 3 children, 2 with one lady and one with another, and he was paying very, very, very high child support.
Yeah, child support's just like, man, that causes so many problems. It's like I'm surprised he didn't do something to that. The mothers of those kids. Let's see. As soon as he I think the part about the key being removed is his explanation for a tremendous amount of time being missing. Because he needs to say that she took the key out And that's why there's like 7 hours, because he was adrift and he just started rowing somewhere and one of the oars broke and everything. So I think that's what there's the whole point of her taking the key is to explain a tremendous amount of missing time. And then you might say, well, why does he need to explain that? If he just shoved her overboard, it could all just work the timing out exactly like a natural situation. But that's why I think that it's possible that she was buried somewhere on an island during this huge amount, like a lot of this time. He found a spot, and then he gets back out, and then he has this story about, oh, this key, the kill switch got lost, and that explains this whole huge amount of time where otherwise it wouldn't, right? So here's the thing. Let's pretend that Lynette fell over and the key is still connected to the electric motor, right? Just think about that. So let's say, it's still connected. He'd be buzzing all over the place. He could have followed her and got her, but he can't have that, right? You see that? He can't have that. I think they need to check this island particularly right here, this one. These are why I have these circles here. There's actually a restaurant right there. Maybe they went there to eat. I think it might have been right there. I don't know. I can't remember now with the restaurant. I think it was right there. And maybe they, something after that happened, and then, he went around and found a spot to put her, and then comes over here, and then a whole story. We don't even know when she was alive after 7:30, right? But it could just be the simplest story in the world. He got angry, shoved her overboard, she drowned. That's it. And that might be a hard one to prove that he did that exact same thing. But I'm just coming up with something where trying to explain, okay, they found the watch, okay. Well, her watch wouldn't have just come off of her. So it seems like he did something to her, had the watch, and then perhaps made it look like something was happening with her by putting it in the water. And perhaps, I'm sure some of the watches out there, Apple watches, float, I'm sure they don't just all sink like a rock. They don't have that information, but Ashleigh's trying to get the map information off of the that the app had on it from the daughter. But don't you guys agree about the kill switch thing? That he's if this is a nefarious act, the only reason he has that as part of the story is to explain the fact that, like, it took 8 hours or something. He's over here at 4 a.m. and it was 7:30 when he says he went into the dinghy originally. That's 8.5 hours. So without that, with the key still being with them, there'd be all kinds of questions about, hey, why didn't you go after her in the dinghy? She's right there. He can't have that, right? So I think he's buzzing around in this dinghy, by the way. It's dark outside. 7:30 is basically sunset. And so he's probably buzzing around, doing whatever he wants with the dinghy. Not a lot of people out there. And then after he took care of all the things he was doing, he still had, the motor was still running. It's not being tracked. And then at some point when he's out here somewhere, he just throws the kill switch thing into the water. And then he gets his oar out. I'm so tired. That's the same thing as he did when he fell out of the boat. The same kind of BS, right? Thank you, Tom C. Yeah, they didn't say how. Do you know how far offshore were they? But if we get that map, that'd be amazing. I actually sent her an email, the daughter, and see if she can. I sent a picture too, if she can draw on there, maybe. See if that happens or not.
And so with the bills for the kids and the child support, Lynette kind of picked up all the odd and end expenses and the utilities and the house note and everything.
What does that mean, Paulette? Yeah, no kill switch was anyone. What?
And his pretty much went to his child care for his children from the other marriages. And then after they got older and they both worked at AT&T, so we're not talking, they had a nice income. He got fired. He was fired a couple of times from AT&T. There were the lawyer fees. Not only, let's go back, there were even lawyer fees that Lynette had to pay for when he choked his daughter. There were lawyer fees that she had to pay when he was trying to get his job back. That was all expensive.
Yeah, I mean, if you measure these things here, like this little line right there is only, it's 1.5 miles, right? So it's probably almost like a little over 2 miles to get from there to this other place called Hopetown. But this is Hopetown 2. Okay, so I don't know which Hopetown they're referring to. There is one up here, and that happens to be on Elbow K. But then there's Hopetown right there, and this is what I think is where they were. Kind of in here, a little easier to move around. Probably during bad weather, just because it's kind of more blocked because of an island, and this out here it's more exposed, I would think. But anyways, I'm just throwing out a theory. It's not really complicated or anything. Even my theory, it's just he kills her, buried her somewhere on an island, and then used the ruse of the dinghy and the kill switch and maybe even the watch to throw people in a different direction from where she really is.
And
so let me stop there for a minute. Lynette paid his lawyer's fees when he fought the charges of choking his 12-year-old daughter and was acquitted by the jury. She paid for those lawyer fees?
She's a money winner. I mean, at that time, Jesse was 12 or 13 years old, and so he was paying child support.
Well, I think it must be a different daughter then.
On 3 kids. An astronomical amount of child support. So, yeah.
She paid his legal bills for that criminal trial.
Yes.
And what about their...
No, that's sort of like, what do you call that? I mean, why'd she pay that? Choking his own daughter, and you pay for that. That's probably... I don't know. What do you got? That's a weird dynamic right there.
Current situation, as I understand it, they were retired and sort of living their dream and living on the boat and sailing. Who was paying for all that?
It was, well, they did sell their house. They had a house in the Grand Rapids area, Kentwood, and it was a lovely home. And they sold that. Yeah. And they took that money. And then I don't know exactly what my daughter got as a pension or retirement from AT&T. But when he got fired, he didn't get any of that at all. And neither one of them were old enough to get Social Security or anything. So they put all kinds of things on the boat, extra solar panels and the reverse osmosis water and everything that you could imagine so that they could be.
Hey, Domsey, if you're still up there, thank you so much again for, doing the challenges and getting us over the finish line tonight. I appreciate it. And again, Wild Bill Wassman always jumping in there. Jim Lawn, etc.
He wanted to be off the grid. He didn't want anybody to tell him what to do, and he didn't want anybody to really know where he was in particular. He didn't want to have that identity, and so it's a rough life to live that way because you can't do a lot. You got to have an address. You got to have a residence, and they just didn't have it. They didn't have, so they used my house as their residence.
They had a 20-something home.
A lot of things.
What do you think Lynette was worth? I mean, how much is she worth at this point?
The last time she told me,
that's important.
It was a while back. Was about, I think, 600, but I might be I'm not sure. But that was, I mean.
So that's kind of a lot of money. And like if she didn't have any sort of paperwork in the will, and they're still married, then he's going to get it all.
They could live on a boat comfortably for a while, and she didn't want to spend all of her money because at one point they're going to be too old to have that lifestyle. And then she wanted to buy a little piece of land, nothing special, and just go on enjoying life. But that's not going to happen.
But several $100,000 were at stake at this point. If there's, if prosecutors are looking for motive for anything, she had a lot of money.
She had enough for them to live their lifestyle, for sure.
Did he have any?
Had a little, not much. We had a little.
And what about life insurance? Do you know if she had any life insurance?
I do not know that. I do not. I don't know. That I don't know.
Talk to me a little bit about your feelings as the days go on. Do you think that Brian did something to Lynette on Saturday night?
I'm sorry. What'd you say? I'm my husband. What'd you say, William?
Do you believe that Brian may have done something to Lynette on Saturday night?
Just a second. What did you say, William?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intervene, but we don't know.
Yeah. Okay. He said, just like he said to me, he said, I don't know. That's why I want this. I want everything to be reviewed. I want to get the facts. I really want to know. We don't know. The potential's there. Let me say, the potential's there. It's been there. And what really makes it even worse is the fact that she had bought that airline ticket a month ago to come home. So, God, I don't want to think so. I want to think it's an accident, but my heart just tells me it might not be. And that's why I want people to know that there was another side of Brian than you're going to see on the sailing hookers. That my daughter did for me, so I'd know where she was. So I always wanted to know where my baby was.
She was the one who ran the Instagram accounts to make sure that you always knew what was going on?
Mm-hmm.
If you had an opportunity to talk to Brian right now, what would you want to tell him?
I really don't want to. I don't want to talk to him. I really don't want to. I can't imagine talking with him because it's been so painful for so long that I don't want to talk to him. The pain is still too new for all of this. So, no.
What's the latest thing that the police and the investigators and the Coast Guard have told you about their findings?
The watch. They seized a lot of the electronics and stuff that Brian had. I think they said they have her phone, but I'm not sure. I didn't even know about the watch. My girlfriend told me. She came over last night to see how I was, and she says, well, they're going to monitor her heart rate on the watch to see if it coincides with the time she fell in the water and all these things. Yeah. And I'm going, oh my God, I hadn't heard any of that. So the Coast Guard, he calls me about every night and tells me the newest things that have come up. And so it's a long waiting process. I just want to find out. I want them to find her.
And it takes a lot of patience, which, I mean, you've got the patience of a saint. I
there it is.
Commend you. Your friend told you about the watch, that they're monitoring and looking at the pattern of the watch. Where did she learn that?
It was online. Online has been where I've gotten a lot of information.
Well, that's how they can
and that's
do
where
it.
she read it. Because
But not
No.
firsthand from the police. This didn't come firsthand from the police to
That's
her.
a standard.
I talked to the Coast Guard last night, the chief at the Coast Guard, and he told me
I mean, that's the same thing in the Nancy Guthrie case, you know. They know exactly when the person entered the home. I think that's the lighthouse there, right? So I think, you know, like somebody just sent me this right here. Susan says, in harbor, away from the world, welcome to the Hope Town Guide. So this appears to be, man, what did I just do? I just lost that. I just saw it. Man, what happened? How come I... Oh, man, I think I just found the lighthouse. I was digging around looking for it. And then just then, I moved something when I was doing and I lost it. Oh, there it is, right there. I'm pretty sure that's the lighthouse. Let's just make sure. Oh, yeah, I mean, it's definitely the lighthouse. And this must be inside the lighthouse. So it could be over here and they had their yacht out there like that, I guess. And this is sort of a useful look right here, isn't it? Hey, there's a dinghy. All right. That's what a normal dinghy that I think it looks like. All right, anyways, back to that.
he said yes, they did find her watch.
Also, Darlene, as watches go, your granddaughter Carly told me that Brian had a special watch and that she could plot his course and that she actually saw the course that he took that night, and it corresponded with floating for all those hours and eventually beaching at Marsh Harbor.
Okay.
So that it's news, hey? That, I mean,
Water, you know, and float around too.
yeah.
So,
Were you able to track Brian's movements based on the course, and that she actually saw
where I've gotten a lot of
hear that
information, and that's where she read it. 'Cause
but not
no.
firsthand from the police? This didn't come firsthand from the police to her.
I talked to the Coast Guard last night, the chief at the Coast Guard, and he told me he said yes, they did find her watch.
Also, Darlene, as watches go, your granddaughter Carly told me that Brian had a special watch and that she could plot his course and that she actually saw the course that he took that night, and it corresponded with floating for all those hours and eventually beaching at Marsh Harbor.
Okay.
So that it's news, hey? That, I mean,
Water, you know, and float around too.
yeah.
So,
Were you able to track Brian's movements based on his watch and the course?
Maybe just do weekend shows? What the hell are you talking about? I do shows every single day, man.
Course that he used to track on his own movements?
no, I don't have access to anything on his watch.
Where do these losers come from? Like, you're in the middle of just doing a show and somebody says, maybe just do weekend shows. Well, what does it have to do with anything that we're talking about here? Wow. Yikes.
That was a segment that he posted, showing, where he was at. Brian was good. The watch was an Amafit watch, and he had a lot of gadgets added to it so that he could do those kind of things. But one of the things they did have was a wonderful app that I had loaded on my phone called No Foreign Land, and I could watch where they would go and where they would stop on their journey everywhere they went. So it was another...
Oh, some troll came in here a minute ago. Named, I think I lost him. I don't know what happened to him. Where'd they go? Oh, Jacqueline was her name.
thing that Lynette, she did for me, I'm sure, so that I would feel a little more comfortable about this unusual lifestyle.
Well, hopefully the police are able to get that pattern and that tracking off of Brian's watch, but who
Troll be gone. They need to make a spray.
knows if it'll have evidentiary value.
Right.
I asked you if you had anything to say to Brian. Is there anything that you'd want to say to Lynette right now?
You know, you sort of hope, yeah, it's like Sleeping with the Enemy. Remember that movie? Where Julia Roberts, she learned how to swim unbeknownst to her controlling, abusive husband. And then one day she pretended that she was knocked overboard during a storm and then swam to some sort of like a dinghy. Wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, that's almost the same story, right? I mean, look at that. And then she takes the key on purpose so he can't follow her, and then escapes to a whole new life. Man, that would be made for Hollywood right there. Man. The
Just
real life,
nothing more
Sleeping
than
with the Enemy.
I love you and I wish you would have come home.
Well, we are praying for you and for your family, and we're certainly praying for a very thorough investigation of whatever happened out there in the Abaco Islands.
I mean, that movie was crazy, right? Because she goes out into the water, sailing. I think it was with like a neighbor and her husband, etc., out in rough waters. And then when it got really rough, she intentionally let herself go overboard, but could swim, and had been taking swimming lessons for a long time, and then made it to like a dinghy, and then eventually went off and then moved somewhere and lived her new life somewhere. That's what that story was about. That's the outlandish theory that has almost no chance of being real, but wouldn't that be crazy?
Thank you so much for sharing all of this with me, and if there's anything we can do, please let us know.
You bet.
My great thanks.
Yeah. Well, where he says he landed with the dinghies over here, and thanks, Ashleigh, for letting us play that. Appreciate that. The link to her channel's in the description, too. Right here is the... apparently it was in this little bay, not bay... harbor here, right in this spot. He apparently drifted to shore somewhere over here. And then the original spot, though, I mean, we don't know. That's the problem. Because one of the articles said 7:30 at Hope Town. So it could be that this is the Hope Town right here. And they were at somewhere and they were just going to go over to here and somehow lost... the events happen. And then he drifts from over here. The drifting part from here makes more sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense to be here and then go around and drift that direction. So this Hope Town here makes more sense for how he may have gotten over here. It's a little bit odd to, have it go like this and then go up there or go over here and go over there. So it seems like whatever happened that he's claiming is sort of in this area, and then he goes over there. So there are some areas over here without a lot of people as well, though. See this? Especially out on this edge, this end over here. Not a lot. Especially the tip of Hope Town is just as isolated as some of these areas. Yeah, so that's it right there. That would be the sort of isolated tip that he could have put her in, perhaps, right over there. In the nighttime, So if you're in your boat, it's like 9 o'clock at night. Nobody can see you, No way. You're just moving around and that kind of thing. Yeah, it's pretty far. I think we figured that out last night. I have it measured here. It was like 4.5, 5 miles. 4.57. From there, So if I take this and then move it, let's just go like that. Oops, shit, man, that's all messed up now. So let's say Hopetown. Like that. That distance is 5.74 miles. That's quite a bit further. Right there. So what do you guys think? Now this water is really shallow here. It's not deep at all. See, you put the water surface on there. See that? But I turned it off. View water surface. So when you come over here, you can literally see. Look at that drop off in the ocean. I mean, that is ludicrous, man. Just right there, boom. It just goes way down. This right here is already 12,000 feet below the surface. Right here, right in this area, is 1 foot. Now it's 90 feet deep. 300. 873, and then bang, goes off a cliff. I mean, just very deep. This over here inside this bay doesn't seem to, I mean, this is, saying, let's see, like that's 5 feet maybe. Let's see if it's deeper over here. I'm not sure if it's the level thing's working inside this. I think the surface is still there. I can see it. Yeah, it has it 0 basically the whole time. So it's right at the surface of the water. The ocean. So the surface for the water is only for the ocean. This is sort of locked inland, so it's not associated with Google Earth's ocean surface. Yeah, it doesn't look deep at all, though. I mean, the fact that you can kind of see the bottom here means it's not really that deep. I would think it's probably, I bet you it's 25 feet deep maybe at some point. It just doesn't seem deep at all. But in the next few days, if she did go into the water, she should be floating to the surface. I know, I totally agree. I think it might even be some areas like 10 feet deep. I mean, you literally can see the bottom. It's crazy. Like, look at right there. I think that's underneath the water, those little sand dune looking things. That's not on the surface. That's not water. That's literally underneath the water. So we're going to have to keep covering this one as well. I think it's interesting. I bet you in the next day or two we're going to get some really breaking news on this one. All right. So today's been a long day for me. This is 4 hours and 39 minutes of streaming. I did 2 hours earlier in the day where nobody seemed to watch. I don't know what the deal was there. It's not really much different than this live stream. It's really hard to crack 200 people. I mean, lately, it just can't get the crowd. I don't. People just aren't getting notified. But just know this: if you're watching, I do live streams every single night, and we actually figure out what's going on in cases. We don't just sort of, the sensationalistic shit part. So there you go. We don't know exactly what's happening. I've thrown out a couple theories. The thing that's probably, very, likely as well is he just if he did do something, he just shoved her overboard and went away. Well, the thing is he couldn't risk her being alive and actually swimming to the shore. So it seems like he would have had to have done something to her first, but he'd have to do it in a way where he didn't leave any marks, and then she goes into the water and she's still alive, but then drowns while she's unconscious by inhaling water. If they find her body and there's no water in her lungs, then he almost certainly killed her on land and then put her in the water. But I think there's a really good chance that if he did do something to her, he killed her, and then buried her on an island, one of the a land portion, and then set up an entire ruse of her going into the water. And that's why nothing worked. Nothing worked at all, because he has, there's too many things that didn't work. And the reason none of those things worked is he's trying to account for various things. Okay, she took the kill switch. That's why I couldn't save her. It's also why there's so much time. So that kill switch thing helps him out in many different ways. That's why he couldn't get somewhere quickly and report her missing. I didn't have my cell phone with me. Who knows why? I didn't have, there's a whole bunch of different things here. Yeah, cool. All right, guys, I think I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thanks for being here. Thank you to Lori. Then Coco Love early on. Then we had Wild Bill Wassman. Gifted one. Then Candalee Woodward Stone. 55 months. Then we have, and thank you. Alley Cake. Wild Bill Wassman again. Matching Alley Cake. Then we had Candalee Woodward Stone with the, sorry I can't afford very much. Well, that's very generous of you there. Appreciate it. Then Wild Bill Wassman. Alley Cake. Wild Bill again. Man, you guys, help Wild Bill out. Michelle H. Kami, Linda Howell, Wild Bill Wassman. Then we had Michelle H. Anderson Croydon. April Star. Anderson Croydon again. Thank you. Then Dom C gifted 10, so that she had a challenge 5 for 10. I did one the reverse of that. But anyways, Wild Bill Wassman. She did, if people gifted 5, she gifted 10. And then Wild Bill Wassman again. Then Stacy Facey. Guess what? Wild Bill Wassman again after a long period of time. And then Stacy Facey gifted 5. Then we had Alley Cake. Jim Lawn gifted 5 when they reached his challenge. And then Wild Bill Wassman again. Then we have Alley Cake. Lisa V, Alley Cake, Eagle Stars and Stripes, Ilsa, Jessica Schubach, and then, guess what? Wild Bill Wassman, Ilsa again, then Dom C, then I gifted 5, then Dom C again. Very cool. Hey, thanks, guys. Getting to the numbers again. Combining the earlier show with this one. With the iguana, that son of made it back to life. Yeah, it's weird how they do that. I watch these shows on YouTube, and I think it's Florida or something, where they hunt. The lady with a pellet gun goes around and takes out the invasive species, the iguana. They're all over the place. It's ridiculous. It's weird how, these people, like carp, for example, that's not, they were never here. And then they were brought over from, Asia, and they just took over everything because it wasn't a natural selection or anything. They just came over and took over. Had it been natural, who knows over time what would have taken place. But you have that, and then like iguanas, there's no competition or anything. It's just sort of, they show up and bam, they just take over. Just like in the waterways in Florida, they have a ton of cichlids from, I think, Africa. And those are like Oscars, Jack, Dempsey's, the what's that one that we all eat? The what's that one that's just really common? Everybody eats it. You get it at Asian stores. It's another cichlid thing, though. And you catch them all over in Florida because people just threw them into the water. And snakeheads, for example, that's another one. and they just take over. It's crazy. Yeah, they're cool, but they're not, you know, you got to get rid of them if they weren't supposed to be there, and they're killing what was the natural characters or creatures in that area, right? Yeah, tilapia is the one I was thinking of. Yeah, they have peacock bass too. Those are kind of cool, but they're not supposed to be there, and they probably kill the native bass and so forth. But yeah, tilapia is the one. That's a cichlid too. And that one's good, you know, that's a good eating fish. But man, they just take over. It's crazy. Yeah, tilapia, yeah. So anyways, thanks everybody for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Just like I said, we do shows every single day. Did you guys find the show interesting at all, or? Okay, cool. All right, thanks. Glad you guys liked it. You know, but, you know, just don't let it bug you. I do have to spend time during the show saying, hey, everybody, if you can help support the channel and reach the goals, you guys. And the reason is, look at this. Check it out. This one right here. See, my channel, since January of 2020, we did 22,000 and 42,500, 62,000, 57, 48, 46, and we're already at 12, so we're on a 48,000 this year pace, if we can keep going. And we're at $292,112, which includes, so far we've put $24,000 into our scholarship fund for criminal justice. There's actually already people applying for the new round, apparently. We've already given out 18,000 in scholarships. Now we have 6,000 more ready to go. We've put over 100,000 into the DNA fund. We've, you know, it's just so many different places. And then it also helps my channel survive at the same time. All right. Let me see. What did Dr. Colleen... No, there it is. She said, got more DNA from the torso case. So the torso case, the one in Indiana, where they found a torso, I think in a river, and they buried the body. And I helped out in finding where the body was located. Based on one photograph in the papers at a cemetery, I was able to help them figure out where it was. And then... There's one case called the Unicorn Girl, because she had a tattoo of a unicorn. And that's another case that looks like DNA is, I mean, she's looking into that, I guess, still. So there you go. Well, thank you again, Dom C. Appreciate it. And thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. You know, going above and beyond. Thank God for those bass. Yeah, I played it the other day. The audio. So anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3. I thought it was kind of weird. He just sounded like he was talking about fishing. Come on, don't you love this new intro exit thing? It's pretty sweet, isn't it? Thank you for watching Gray Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we use logic, reason, and common sense to figure out true crime cases. Thank you very much for watching, And as I always say, until next time, be safe. Well, don't you like the video part of it too, Songbird? It's pretty good, right? Those are all things that I made, those animations. I think the whole thing's good, the video, right? The video. Not just the music, but the video. Alright, anyways. Jesus. Man, you guys. You look nice today. Well, just today? Alright, thanks everybody. See you.